everyone, welcome back to my channel. So it's time for my monthly update on new perfume releases. There's been a fair few out in the past month, so I'm going to go through them all. I do have dedicated videos on pretty much all of these. A lot of these are flankers, part of like whole ranges, so I've done videos comparing them with the rest of the range and ranking them as well, so do check that out. If you're a regular viewer, do make sure you're subscribed and give the video a thumbs up, that really helps me. And all the links will be down below in the description box where you can get all these perfumes where they're available all around the world. And most of these I got from Look Fantastic, where you can use my code in the UK, LFTF Soki, to get up to 21% off your basket. But before we get into the perfumes, I want to say a big thank you to today's video sponsor, Omnisend. Omnisend is a company that I have been using for years. When I set up my business, setting up the website and everything was something I had no idea what to do, and I use Omnisend for my email marketing. They are a super intuitive platform that just connects to a Shopify store or other stores that's used by experts, but rookies like me can use it as well. So for example, when you go on my website, you get a pop-up saying that you can get 10% off your first order when you sign up to my newsletter. That pop-up is something I created with Omnisend. You can see here in the demonstration how easy it is to just choose different templates. They do it all for you. You can format it and change it in a really intuitive way. You don't need to know anything about coding or anything technical. So it's a really powerful tool that's intuitive and straightforward to use. And they do have 24/7 support as well. And I do have a discount code for you guys. You can use code Soki London, link in description box, or the QR code here as well. And that will give you a free account and you'll get 30% off your first 3 months. So thank you Omnisend for sponsoring this video. So in terms of new perfumes, so probably one that you've seen lots of perfume influencers get is the new Kayali fragrance. They're always releasing new perfumes, Kayali. The latest one is called Flirt, Majesty, Rose Royale. And this is actually to me, a really pear fragrance, more so than it is rose. Really reminds me of Givenchy Irresistible, original eau de parfum. And the rose is quite light, quite fresh. It's not heavy rose, but at first you definitely get quite a sweet, juicy pear. There's a little bit of a sweet peach note in here as well. So it's definitely a fruity floral, quite fresh, spring summer vibes. And then as it dries down, there's a tiny, tiny hint of a violet, which again makes it very feminine. This feels like a very girly, pretty fragrance, but it's not super sweet and gourmand like a lot of the previous Kayali releases that were all marshmallow and whipped cream and stuff. This one is definitely a fruity floral, and personally I found it very similar to Irresistible Givenchy. It's just got a little bit of a powderiness in it from the violet note, and then I do get a hint of pinch, which isn't in the Givenchy one as well. And it's a really pretty bottle. So you guys know, if you're a regular here, how much I love pear, so this is definitely a Soki approved perfume. Speaking of Givenchy, they have released a new one in their Irresistible range. So this one is called Irresistible Nude Velvet. Now again, this has rose in like all the rest of the Irresistible range do, but this one is actually quite powdery and musky. I found this really quite powdery, kind of reminded me of some of the Narciso Cube perfumes, and actually the main note is that powdery iris here. I did find it performed well. I just one spray and I could really smell like a powdery iris for hours. So if you like your iris perfumes, like the La Vie Belle iris, quite a few brands have been doing iris the past sort of year or so. It seems to be another trending perfume note, and it's also a little bit similar to the previous one that came out, which was also quite irisy, but it's not similar to original Irresistible, which was really fresh pear and rose, whereas this one is very much more an iris perfume, but it did perform well, so it's Soki approved. They have also re-released 2 old perfumes. They're very irresistible fragrances, not to be confused with Irresistible. You might remember these came in those really tall, long bottles. So basically they've changed the bottle. I don't know if they've reformulated the fragrances. They do smell very similar to the original. The eau de parfum in particular does just really remind me of that long purple, very irresistible bottle. So you've got the rose in here that runs through all the Irresistible perfumes, but this one has a patchouli vanilla base, and they have what they describe as star anise, but That sometimes to me smells like licorice, whereas this doesn't have a licorice smell in it at all. But that base of the vanilla and the patchouli really give it like the lasting power that really brings me back to, like, you know, 20 years ago, whenever it was, when these perfumes originally came out. So this was very nostalgic for me to smell this, really like it. And then the Eau de Toilette version in the pink bottle. This one is just a very light rose with some lemony opening notes, but it's incredibly light. So if you're looking for a really light perfume, or perhaps something for like a young girl, this could be nice. It really is very, very light, like a cologne, like really light. I couldn't really smell it on myself, but it's very pretty and nice. It's just super, super light. So I definitely prefer the Eau de Parfum. We have a new version of Alien from Thierry Mugler. This one is called Alien Extraintense, and it really is a good way to describe it. Alien is already an insanely strong perfume, heavy, heavy jasmine with some amber. This one is just as strong, like probably is more intense than Alien, which I didn't think was possible. So you get loads and loads of the jasmine. There's also tuberose in here, so heavy white floral. This one has a little bit of a vanilla cashmere base, so it's slightly different to original Alien, but personally I didn't find it that different. I definitely don't think you need both, but if you wear Alien, then perhaps it could be nice to get the extra intense version just to mix it up slightly. But definitely one for fans of heavy, heavy white florals, really strong. And I know these are all refillable as well, but yeah, definitely another like good long-lasting perfume from Mugler. A lot of their perfumes I find really do perform really well. From Burberry, we have a new version of Burberry Her. This is called Burberry Her Intense. Now you might remember there used to be a Burberry Her Intense maybe like 7 or 8 years ago, that came in a see-through bottle with a kind of brown ambery colour. And this one comes in this fully matte one, which looks very similar to the elixir bottle, but this one is shiny and the elixir one isn't shiny. The Burberry Her perfumes really celebrate strawberry. They're all about strawberry, and this one is super strawberry for me in quite an artificial way, which is not necessarily a bad thing. Like, it reminds me of a strawberry candy, strawberry bubble gum, obviously very, very sweet. And it does have an ambroxan note in here that I really notice, which gives it a slightly creamy sense. But I did just do a video ranking all the different Burberry Hers, because they are like different ways of interpreting strawberry, most of them. So if you really want that like proper like candied strawberry, artificial strawberry scent, this is probably the most like candy strawberry perfume I've come across. We have another one in the range from Carolina Herrera Good Girl, famous of course for their shoe-shaped perfumes. This is called Very Good Girl Elixir. And again, I did do a video explaining the difference between them all. This one uses a note that we've not seen before in this range. So it's cherry, but it's a black cherry, which does smell quite different to a normal red cherry. So it's deeper, it's darker. Like, black cherry for me is a little bit more wintry, warmer, and it's got an almond sort of nuttiness underneath this as well, which again makes it quite warm and sexy. Definitely different to the others. There is still that signature Good Girl scent, which is kind of like slightly floral, quite kind of slightly vanilla-y sweet, quite evening for me, the Good Girl perfumes, most of them. But black cherry, there aren't many black cherry perfumes out there, and just the Kayali Love Fest Burning Cherry is the only one that comes to mind. So if you prefer the black cherry note to the red cherry note, which is a bit more serious, bit more grown up, then this one, Very Good Girl Elixir, is the one for you. We have a new one from Kylie Jenner. She released Cosmic last year, and now we have Cosmic 2.0. This is very different to the original Cosmic. This is in a very light, fresh, innocent perfume. We've got a light pear, and then underneath a little bit of vanilla orchid. To me, this kind of vanilla orchid that's in here smells like going into a greenhouse and smelling orchids. So very delicate, light, floral. It's not really sweet, and it also has a bit of a lavender hint in here as well, so it's quite calming. But for me, this is a very light, hot weather perfume, quite subtle, whereas original Cosmic was much sweeter and heavier and sexier. And again, I have done a video comparing the two. We have a new fragrance from Nina Ricci. I often love the Nina Ricci bottles. This new one called Venus. Venus is the Roman goddess of love, but the same goddess in Greek is called Aphrodite, which of course is my second perfume. This is kind of like a very wearable, florally vanilla perfume, quite soft, quite subtle, with some just sort of pretty florals in, and then a subtle vanilla in the base. So very on trend. We're seeing so many vanilla perfumes at the moment. Pretty easygoing, pretty wearable, but if you are a collector of bottles, definitely one to add to the collection. This is the 30ml, which comes like this, but the larger sizes, I think it's a gold metal bottle, whereas this is the glass bottle. And then lastly, we have a new one from Oriflame. These are a very affordable perfume brand. Quite a unique bottle here, and a bit of a weapon. And this is a cherry perfume. Cherry, everyone's doing cherry this year, it seems. This one is super cherry, and it reminds me of kind of like a cherry chapstick smell. If you love cherry chapstick, you want to smell like that, this is definitely giving me those vibes. You know, you've got like a kind of makeup lipstick note in here. You've got the black cherry note as well as the cherry note. So it really is all about the cherry. Sometimes perfumes are like marketed as cherry, but then they don't really smell of cherry after the first 10 seconds or whatever. This definitely smells like cherry all the way through. Sweet, fruity, and then it has a little bit of a warm sort of tonka bean undertone, but it really does just smell like lots and lots of cherries, or those cherry Haribos as well. So definitely one of the most affordable cherry perfumes out there. Cool, so those are all the new releases I've come across in the past month or so. I know there are other ones coming up, like there's a new My Way Ylang that hasn't launched in the UK yet. I'll get that when it does. New Airins coming out and stuff, so as soon as the new ones come out, I'll get them and review them for you guys as usual. But all links down below in the description box. And that's it. So thanks so much for watching as always, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.